What's happening, people? We're back. Arsenal chat is needed. You got myself and Lee Judges in the house. Welcome back to the channel. Please make sure you do me a favor and hit like and subscribe on this one. Our next target is a big 5-0. Let's get there very quickly. And let's hope that Arsenal can continue to win very quickly. Right now, things are good. We've got teams dropping points all around us. And if Carlsberg did weekends, well, that would probably be just about one of them, to be fair. Other than Spurs winning, it was pretty much magic. I didn't watch that game. I heard that they were a set piece again, ole, which is a strange thing to say. Everyone's copying long throws. Everyone's copying set pieces. It has turned into the 80s and 90s of football. And I, for one, don't actually mind it if we're winning. And that's what we're doing at the moment. So make sure you do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, and make sure you're following both myself and Lee. Judges, not a bad weekend, was it?
No, sorry, it was a good week. Sorry we're a little bit late. It's because me and Dan haven't seen it, and we didn't see each other at the game Sunday, and we ain't caught up, like, you know what I mean? So we was having a little chit-chat, like, you know, and yeah, listen, well, I'm going to say that was as good as weekend you could ask for, really, because, you know, obviously you don't want Spurs to win, but they lost last week anyway, so, and I have to say, it pains me to say it, they're a decent side away from home, you know. And we're going to have another tricky game against them in a couple of weeks' time. I can tell you that now. Like, if they play like they are at the moment, very, very hard to break down. And I think once you do break them down, then it's a different kettle of fish. But you've got to be able to do that to start off with. But yeah, it was a good weekend. On the back of what happened on Tuesday night, you know, I didn't know what I was going to get, Dan. I don't know about how you felt. I didn't know what sort of performance I was going to get. Team news come through exactly what we said it would be, revert to how he went. And I think you've got to give Crystal Palace credit. It was they made it tough for us without really going at us, if I'll be honest. I think they was happy to settle for a 0-0 or even a 1-0 defeat. You could, if you want to go down the negative route, you can go down that road if you want. For me, I'm not going to at this moment in time. It was all for me. What happened before against Liverpool and Brentford? By the way, how good were Brentford? I've got to say that, like that. They were fantastic.
They've been, I must say, just quickly, they for me are the biggest surprise of this season, Brentford, because they've got Keith Andrews, who I didn't know much about in terms of his as a manager. I thought was a poor replacement for Thomas Frank. They've lost a lot of their players. Most of their attack has gone now, Tony and Boomu, and of course, there's another one missing as well, Visser. And I thought to myself, Brentford are the ones that I think are going to go down quite comfortably. I have been so impressed with them, mate. So impressed in every game they've played so far. They've given their all. And I think, yeah, against Liverpool, they deserved it massively. So, yeah, just wanted to mention them.
Massively. I watched bits and pieces of it because it was Saturday night. But in the end, I said, I've got to watch this. You know what I mean? Like, they was like 2-0 up and then it went 2-1. And then when they went 3-1, deservedly so. Harsh penalty, but listen, you know, Liverpool fans complaining about VAR, well, you know, it's laughable, really. But anyway, what I would say about it is that I don't know if Brentford were that great or Liverpool were that bad. But I just, you know, I'm with you on this. Like, you know, the two teams, Bournemouth and Brentford, recruitment is sensational. It's sensational, really. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you look at Bournemouth, they've lost virtually all their back four. Yeah. Virtually, you know, their goalkeeper as well.
Well, that's when you look at a manager, don't you, in Iriola, and think,
look at the managers and say, well done. And for Brentford, even more.
Sunderland, Bournemouth and Sunderland.
Sunderland as well. Yes, Sunderland as well, to go to Chelsea and get a result like that. Granit Xhaka playing out of his skin at this moment in time. But what you know, some fantastic performances from there. Going home Saturday, like, I went and watched my boy play. Was coming home and Chelsea was 1-1, and then I had to take a phone call with about a minute to go of that game. So I thought, it's 1-1. It'll probably finish 1-1, but quite pleased that they dropped a couple of points. If I'll be honest, you didn't expect it against Sunderland. And then, like, looked at the phone, it was 2-1. I couldn't believe it. Like, so that was good. Then what happened with Liverpool? And then on Sunday, I don't know about you, and I'm not making excuses for the performance or anything like that, Dan, right? I'm just saying like that. I think that game, I reckon that they knew that Manchester City were losing that game. I know Arteta said that he didn't know. I don't know how you don't know. You know what I mean? And I think it become.
He had to say that.
Say again.
He had to say that. I think.
Yeah. I think he had to say that, like, you know what I mean. But I think that game, they then looked at it and thought, we just got to win this game now. Like, don't worry about how we do it. And it was so vital that we won that game, you know. And obviously, I think we ain't going to be silly enough. We've got to play better than that. But I think you have to give credit to Crystal Palace. They're a tough team. You don't go 18, 19 games unbeaten, win FA Cups and Charity Shields by being a poor side then, like, you know what I mean? And they got some very, very good players in their team. Mitchell, left back, like, you know what I mean? I know.
Great game.
Yeah, I know Lewis-Skelly is England's left back, but I see them putting over Jed Spence over there, putting other players over there. He should be in the England squad, like, you know what I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like, you know, terrific.
He's been good now consistently for a good 3 years as well. I know we got Lewis-Skelly, Lewis Hall, obviously Jed Spence, but I think that he deserves a mention as well. I thought he locked up Saka. I don't think Saka was well, from what we understand. He had to come off because he was ill. But either way, Saka's a good player. Even if he's 20. He absolutely locked him up. And I've got to be honest, I think Crystal Palace are a very, very good side with a very good manager. And I look at Maxence Lacroix, excellent centre-half. Gehi, you know, can see why Liverpool and other teams want him. Big fan of Daniel Munoz at right back. I think he's been excellent signing for them since he's come in. Adam Wharton is a baller in midfield. I think he's going to be wanted by a lot of clubs in the coming years at 2021 or whatever he is now. And they've got Mateta, who, let's just be honest, is a handful and a nuisance. So I think they've got players that people would probably look at in the top 6 quite comfortably as bringing into their side. So, you know, when we come and say the kind of 1-0 and, you know, 1-0 to Arsenal, 1-0 to Arsenal, boring Arsenal, I'll take that against a team like Palace because they're a good side, Lee. I don't go into that game anymore thinking, oh, this would be all right. I think that's a tough game. Palace.
No, listen, you're right in what you're saying there. Sarr's a good player on the break. Mitchell, by the way, got forward very, very well as well. They're a well-organised team. And when it goes on about boring Arsenal, right, what I like about Arsenal, and I'm going to bring up Arteta on this as well, like, you know, we've had this for a little while now when teams come in there and just put banks of 4 in against us. And like, we've been criticised for not being able to break it down. You know, we've got to be able to, we've all said it. I've said it, find solutions. We've got to find solutions to break these banks when teams come and play deep blocks against us. We've got to find solutions. I've never seen us moaning about it. I've never seen Arteta moaning about, like teams do this, like Slaughter has, by the way, who's gone down in my estimations the last few weeks. I really liked him, but the last few weeks has embarrassed himself and has been a big letdown as far as I'm concerned. But that's another story. And we've never turned around and said, oh, well, teams come here and we play long ball against us and do that. Like, what we've done, Dan, is we've found a solution, not through open play. We found it through set pieces. You know what I mean? Like, it was a set piece that broke them down. It was a set piece that broke down Atletico Madrid. I look at that game against Atletico Madrid, and that, in a way, is not a good thing for us. And I'll tell you why. They came with a game plan of keeping it defensively, blocked and everything like that, which is what they did. And went 1-0 down. And then a very, very good team and a very, very good manager opened up against us and we destroyed them, right? So teams are not going to come to us and open up against us and go toe-to-toe with us, Dan, because that's what can happen. So they're going to keep it tight. And I think Crystal Palace, from the minute they went down, were still saying to themselves, let's not open up. We might be able to nick something 1-1. They went in the last 5 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes. Very late in the game, they actually went for it, like, you know what I mean? And it opened it up a little bit. And we could have got some more. So teams are frightened to open up against it, even when they're 1-0 down, Dan, because that's what can happen. So, listen, I think you can make excuses and everything like that. But for me, on Saturday, it was just about getting those 3 points. Just about getting those 3 points, and that's what we've done. And that was so important, like, you know. So I'm not too disappointed about the way we played in this game. I know that people want to criticise and say, we can't sustain this. And I get all of those questions and everything, and I get all that, like. But I heard people on Sunday saying that, Dan, right?
Mm.
And I'm shaking my head, like, you know what I mean, because you just seen on Tuesday against a very, very good opposition what it's like when teams open up against us, and like that's how we can play. So sometimes you have to give the opposition a little bit of credit and the way the opposition play. I don't think we're going to find many entertaining games at the Emirates unless we score first very, very early. And I will say this because my mate Mark, we can moan at times. So Mark Cow, I'm going to give him a mention, was saying like it was very slow in the first half and people around him were going like, you know what I mean? And I do think that's something that maybe we have to go and look at. But I will say this, and what I was saying is, say if we do open up against the team very, very quickly, Dan, like in the first 5 minutes and get caught on the counter, we went 1-0 down and we've got to break down that bank twice. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so I do think that maybe there's a little bit of caution in what we're doing at the moment as well, because I think that, you know, do you imagine if we'd have gone out in the first 5 minutes against Palace? Palace score, how hard would it be to beat them then, you know? So I understand there's a little bit of caution in there as well, like, you know, and I think that we're not going to have that many great entertaining games unless we go 1-0 up, maybe even 2-0 up early doors. And that's the way it is. And I think there's a lot of teams like that. I watched, I didn't watch the Spurs game, but I see the highlights of it. Spurs are doing very much the same. Lots of teams are doing this now, like, you know, defending against it. And it's, you know, when people say Arsenal, do Arsenal go to away teams and park the bus? Not very often. Done it against Liverpool, admittedly. Didn't do it against Newcastle, Dan. Certainly didn't do it against us. So we're a team that will go and be adventurous, and hopefully we'll be adventurous in the next 2 games. And let's see what happens. But listen, I'm all about the result this week, and you know,
well, we had a great weekend. Let's be real, it was unbelievable. But do you think, right? Because I said this to the lads on my channel, I don't think anyone's playing unbelievable. I don't look at Arsenal right now and go, "Oh my God, we're going to win it by 25 points." The way we're playing.
No.
I don't think we've quite got going ourselves yet. And I think that's a massive compliment to us. And I think it's an exciting thing for Arsenal. Liverpool look a little bit of a mess. Well, more than a little bit of a mess. Chelsea right now, inconsistent as ever. You've got Manchester City or Haaland FC. Don't really think Tottenham are going to be there or thereabouts for a title, but they can certainly be there or thereabouts for a top 4, top 5 race. Newcastle and Villa are starting to pick up, but I've never really seen them in a title race either, which means that you have to look at Bournemouth and Sunderland, and I don't think they're staying there. So really right now, Arsenal haven't even had to do much to get much right. We have lost to Liverpool. We have dropped to City. But if we can keep going and can keep plodding away at results, even if it is, you know, Burnley and Sunderland, we win 2-0 again, or we win 1-0 or 2-0 against those sides, I'm not going to say I'm still not convinced, because we're plugging away. Every time we win, I get more and more convinced. And I know that sounds like simple in football, and it sounds like, you know, I'm flip-flopping. When we lose, we're not going to be ready. But it's true, isn't it? You lose a game of football, you might lose a bit of conviction. You win a game of football and you might think, this is unbelievable right now. It cures all. Kevin used to say it. Winning cures all. It does. Like, it really does cure all. And I think right now, when I look around, I think, oh, we're doing our job. Everyone else ain't really. And I've seen many, many times, and I think the most positive thing I can say, other than we're winning, is the teams around us are dropping points and we've capitalised. And the second thing is Newcastle, West Ham, Fulham and Palace, 12 points. We got 2 last year. So that to me means, I'm not saying we've got 10 more points than last year already, because we were a shambles last year. We never really were, if I'm honest, in a title race. But I'll say this. I think if we keep doing the way we're doing with our defence, we have got a great chance of not just winning the Premier League. We've got a great chance of winning trophies this season, because defensively, we don't let much out, mate. We've literally conceded 1 shot on target in the whole of October, Lee. That is insane. Like, it's so good, this defence, isn't it? So good.
It is so good. And it was like, that was like a flick header from Eddie, wasn't it? Which was like, but basically, like, it was, you know, like, that's an effort, like, you know what I mean? I don't really go along with that. Like, it's just, but you're right in what you're saying. 2 things that have come to mind for me. Curtis come up with a good point about Arsenal on the Forever Arsenal yesterday. He said that Arsenal's still learning how to play with Gyökeres, with a forward. We've played 2-3 seasons. Well, maybe even more than that if you bring in Jesus into this as well, without a proper centre forward. Like, and I don't mean like, do you
I
know
don't
what I
think
mean?
Arteta's ever had one, really, has he?
No, and so I think that there's learning to do that, and we're trying to learn on the job a little bit like that. And you can see that it's starting to bear a little bit of fruit, but it's not quite there yet. And the other thing is that if you have a look at certain teams, and I had a little think about this, and Harvey just put it up in the chat like, "Oh, the Premiership is not as good as what it was, or it's deteriorating, or whatever." I think he said something like that. I'm not so sure about that. I think there's a little bit of teams scared to lose, Dan, and I mean this. Aston Villa is a very, very good thing about this. Aston Villa started off not great, then they lose a couple of games. Look at them now. Like, you know what I mean? But you can't afford to lose 2 or 3 games in this league at this moment in time. You're not going to get there or get where you want to go. So I think that teams are a little bit cautious, more cautious. But I think it comes to a stage where Aston Villa go, oh, well, we're in dire here. We just go back to how we were playing. Look how free-flowing that they are now. I thought they were fantastic against Spurs in that game. And they was fantastic against Manchester City in the week, like, because I think like shackles are off a little bit. They can play a little bit. I think with Sunderland, if you look at Sunderland's game, and I did watch that game against Chelsea, I only like extended highlights. There's a little bit of freedom about them at this moment in time. Like, you know, they're expected to go down. You know what I mean? What if so there was a stage in that game against Chelsea when it was 1-1. And I think a lot of teams, Dan, would just go, do you know what? We're settled for the point here. Like, you know what I mean? It's a good point and all that. But they thought, like, well, you know, we've got so many points on the board. And they took it to Chelsea. And they were in the final third of that game, they were the better side.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Chelsea thinking, oh, we don't want to lose this game. None of that. So I do think there's a little bit of that in this at the moment. So you've got to be a little bit free flowing and whatever. But I do think, you know, look at Man United at the moment. All of a sudden started to express themselves a little bit more and you know, and have started winning. And so I do think that winning does breed a little bit of confidence, as it happens with Aston Villa. It's happened with Man. You know, listen, Man United winning at Liverpool. If that ain't the biggest shot in the arm, what else can you know what I mean, not get like? Do you know what I mean? So that is what Arsenal doing very much at the moment. They're saying to themselves, right, okay, we're going to make ourselves hard to beat. If you don't concede, we're not good. The worst we're going to get is a point. And you know, at some stage, that there's going to be a set piece. I don't know how you felt about it on Saturday. I've watched games like that thinking, oh, we're going to lose this 1-0 or we're not going to score. My mindset at the minute is, we'll get something. If we don't get something from open play, we'll get something from a set piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that they're in that little mode at the moment. And you're dead right what you're saying, Dan. If the other teams are losing, what's the most important thing? Is making sure that we tot up the points. You know, it's like if Liverpool would have Liverpool on this run at this moment in time of four defeats, right, in the Premier League, yeah, right. In that time, right, they've dropped 12 points. Yeah, Arsenal have won 3 and drawn 1, right. So we picked up 10 points, so they're dropped 12. You know what I mean? So. And that drop 2 points was against Manchester City. So you look at it, and we turn around we was 5 points behind them, if you remember rightly. And we was all thinking, well, that's it, it's all over and all that. Like, but say if we'd have lose those games or drawn a few of those games like we did last season, Dan, right? All of a sudden, Liverpool will be in a situation where their manager will be saying, right, we've lost 4 games, but we're only 2 points off the lead. It ain't all that bad. You know what I mean? Like, we can make this up. But what Arsenal have done is they've made sure they've got the points on the board now. And all of a sudden now, Liverpool going against Aston Villa, we've got to win this game now. Otherwise, a draw's no good, because you know Arsenal are going to go there and do this and do that. A little bit what Liverpool did last season. You know, people criticise the league weren't great last season because Arsenal weren't this hard. Liverpool kept winning. Before you knew it, they were 10 points clear. No one could get that gap. And that's what Arsenal have got to do now, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so important, these next 2 games in the league, you know what I mean? Beat Burnley, then I know Sunderland, and Sunderland's going to be difficult. But if we can beat them and all, Dan, we then sit on the gut. If we can get 6 points from these next 2 games, that Sunday we can sit there. And it doesn't matter what happens. We are, you know what I mean? If Liverpool win or
when that time as well, Liverpool have got to play Aston Villa, Man City have got Bournemouth, and they got each other. So I think we've got. I'm sure they got each other in a couple of weeks. Liverpool.
Yeah, they're like the last game of the international break.
So we can look at now. We can say, do you know what? We have done our business against Burnley and Sunderland. I said this on the last show, and I'll say it again quick. That means we've got 3 dodgy away fixtures left in terms of travel: Man City, Everton, and Leeds. We ain't got to move outside of the Midlands after that. Yeah, on our way.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I know it's not about that, but it kind of is, because travel, we got to go Europe. You take away what you got to do in the UK. That's cool. We've been up to Old Trafford. We've been up to Liverpool. We've been up to Newcastle already. Yeah. So I think that, and if you took Burnley and Sunderland out of the picture, which we can do in 2 weeks' time, that's 2 other proper treks that we've got sorted. So I know people might laugh, but traveling it can cause problems, you know, which is why we don't want to go and play that Kairat over it away. I'm glad we got on my own, because that's in towards Kazakhstan. So I'm really, really confident at the moment with what we're doing. And people laugh at it. And I'll bring up this super chat because it's absolutely bang on. I've been having this all the last couple of days. It's not sustainable. Gyökeres is a flop. Everyone keeps saying. Rice and Gabriel keep scoring headers. Gyökeres has more goals than most strikers in the Premier League. Let's talk on that quick. And I agree with you, here. People are laughing at Rice. People are laughing at Gabriel. Wait till they get injured. Arsenal won't win a game. Gyökeres has got 5 goals in 13, but apparently he's a flop and he can't score for Toffee. I don't really sit here and say that I'm 100% convinced by Gyökeres. I really wanted him. You know how badly I wanted him, because I thought he was the bagsman and the goal scorer we needed. You're right to say that we're now playing with a striker that's differently for the first time. I do want to see more goals. I do want to see more opportunities. But only a couple of days ago, people were explaining how dangerous Arsenal are and how scary we are, because Gyökeres is scoring 2 goals against Madrid and we've battered them 4-0. Then we win 1-0 against Palace and Gyökeres is a flop again, and Arsenal can only score by set pieces. I think that's all the rivals have got, Lee, at the moment. That's all they can get for us is Arsenal winning bet. It's not sustainable. It's only set piece FC. I want to see Arsenal now scoring more from open play, and I want to see us go forward more than anyone. But I think it's a little bit clutching at straws from some of these rivals that are trying to cling on to anything just to diss us, and they're going for Gyökeres and set pieces, Lee.
Yeah, listen, and I get that straight away. Like they're saying, oh, if Rice gets injured and so-and-so gets injured, they're hoping that they get injured. They are. You know what I mean? Like
they are.
They are. You know what I mean? Like you see that. Like listen, Gyökeres, what chances did he have on Sunday? What chance did he have? And listen,
exactly.
I'll say this now: those 2 central defenders, one of them's an England international, the other one's being touted to go other places next season, are 2 fantastic central defenders, right? And he gave them a game. They had to work, and they had to. When would Gay, who I think is a fantastic player, and watch him for England, how many times did Gay come out with the ball and move into the midfield with it? Not once. Not once. Not once. Why? Because they knew that he was there, and he you know, he made it tough for them on his own. Give him a little bit of credit. He didn't get a great chance on his own, but he done some stuff there. Lovely little conversation in the chat there. Like, if we win our next 3 games, I think that, listen, if Arsenal were to beat Hull and Sunderland, beat Tottenham, go to Chelsea and win, I think, you know what I mean, like, we're going to be hard to stop from there on. You know what I mean? So I agree with Harvey saying the next 5 games ain't going to decide the title, but I think they'd go a long way, Dan, if we was to win all 5. If we was to get all 5 wins in the next, that would be great. And Dan, as you well know, and I tell anybody in the chat, and I'm not being like cocky when I say I've seen Arsenal win titles, you have to go at some stage and win 10 games on the trot. Somewhere along the line, you have to get 30 points from 30. Now, people will go, "Oh, that's not." I'll have a look at titles won. Teams do that, and that's what we got to do. Now, if we could get those 5, like, you know, these are not gimmies. These next 2 games, Dan, but on paper they should be. You know what I mean? You two teams that have come up, you have to go and win these 2 games. I think these next 2 games are all about pressure, all about getting the results down. I'm not bothered if we win 1-0, 1-0 our next 2 games, you will not hear me saying, oh, this is not sustainable. That is what we've got to do. Then we have a break and then we go again. You know what I mean? But I think if Arsenal are to win this league, we need to win our next 2 games, because what it will do will make sure that we're 6 points or more in front of all of our rivals, you know what I mean? And as you quite rightly say, Dan, I know this sounds silly, we're only 4 points clear at the top of this moment in time, but Bournemouth are playing, they are playing Man City next week, aren't they, right? Now, a team that's 4 points behind, who do you want to win that game? The team that's 4 points or the one that's 6?
It's mad. It's
mad.
Really.
It is mad, but that is the situation that we've got.
We're in, yeah.
And I'm telling you it all now. We still prefer to be 4 points clear, won't we?
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, because we would want Burnley to win it and be 9 points in front of Manchester City if we beat Burnley. We have to beat Burnley next week, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if it's the most boringest game ever. Right? I don't care. It's one of the most longest journeys going. It's not the greatest place to go. It's not the greatest view. It's not the greatest stadium. But we have to go there and win. And I'll tell you what, I don't know. I haven't had a look at the weather. It's bound to be cold up there, because every bloody time I've gone up there, it's raining.
It's freezing, mate. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember
I'm
once.
I'm not gutted about not going, because it is absolutely freezing. I don't mind Burnley away. It's not the best away day, let's be real. But I do think it's this one will be even more enjoyable, because we have to win it. And like you say, every weekend at the moment, I'm looking at the other teams thinking, can we capitalise? Because they don't look good right now, Lee. You know, Haaland FC, when he don't score, Man City aren't scoring. Liverpool, I'm not going to lie to you, mate. I know Arne Slot's getting a lot of stick, but right now I'm not looking at any of their individuals thinking, wow, their goalkeeper's nowhere near as good as Alisson, although I do think he's quite good. Conor Bradley ain't good enough for Liverpool. I don't think their left back looks anywhere near the level of what he was at Bournemouth. He looks, in fact, he looks really bad defensively. Van Dijk looks off it. Konate's head's in Madrid. In midfield, there's only really Szoboszlai that's holding it together. All the others look off it. Obviously, Salah, world-class goal, but individual moment, that's all he had. He was quiet for the rest of the game. Gakpo looks inconsistent. And let's be real, I'll be playing Ekitike all day over Isak at the moment, because I think he's the only one that looks like he's got something in that attack. So that's Liverpool and City. Chelsea, I mean, how to spend £2 billion and look crap. I mean, congratulations, they've done it. It is really bad how bad they look individually and together as a team. I think Chelsea are just so inconsistent. And I appreciate they've got injuries, but I don't want to hear it when you spent £2 billion. They've only really got Palmer there missing and their centre half. That's it. Palmer and Colwell. I mean, come on, man. Like, that's literally the only ones they're missing. It is poor.
I will say this. When we had injuries, all these Chelsea fans and all these other fans and all these other teams saying, don't use injuries as an excuse, right? Right. So I don't want to hear it that Palmer's injured and all that. And you know, that happens. We had it happens last season, and I hear from Chelsea fans, that's an excuse FC. Like, so don't bring it up now. You know, that's that. Listen, Chelsea. Let's just quickly talk that. What an interesting game that is at the weekend, because if Tottenham at this moment in time are above Chelsea, right? And if you want to look at that down there, I don't know how many points they're above them. I don't think it's very many, like, you know what I mean? So at 60, 14, 3 points in front of, they could go 6 points in front of Chelsea, right? With all the money that Chelsea has spent.
I think Spurs will beat them. I think Spurs will beat them.
You know what I mean? All of a sudden, Chelsea could be like 10th, 11th in the league, right? Under immense pressure if they lose that game. Under immense pressure. I don't know. They've got that into the following game, but then we've got them in a few weeks. They could be with a new manager. I'm telling you, they lose their next couple of games. They're in. Their managers in for it, because you know what I mean. Like, they could actually go in. I think you're right. I think Spurs will beat them next week. I think, like, I wouldn't say I'll put a lot of money on it, but if I would say that at home Spurs will beat them. You know, and I don't buy into all this. Chelsea have a great record there and all that. Like, you know what I mean. Like, that Tottenham are are a different nuts to crack this time. Like if Spurs get 1-0 up there, Chelsea ain't going to get back. So, like, you know, there's got to be a conversation when I look at it about Chelsea. Man United are above them, and everybody's saying their man should be sacked. Blah, 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 he's a fraud and everything like that. Manchester United now are 2 points in front of him, so they're under pressure. He's under pressure. You know what I mean? Like, so it'd be great if he's under immense pressure in 4 or 5 weeks' time when we go there. Dan,
yeah,
that'd be lovely. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when it's going to be a must win for them. So, like, it'd be very interesting. If I'll be really honest, I don't want Spurs to win that game. I'll take a draw. I don't really want either to, you know, it'd be nice to see both of them drop points. I don't really like Chelsea that much, and I don't really like Tottenham. It's one of those games where
I want Chelsea to win, though. I can.
Well, out of the two, yeah, I do.
Draw, do you know what I mean?
Draw, but like, I don't want either to win. But if there is to be a winner, then it'd be Chelsea, yes. But that, you know what I mean, that'd be a good incentive for them to go on a little bit. Like, so I'm a little bit weary of that at the moment. Keep them down there, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, Man United, that fella could be having his hair cut in a couple of weeks' time, couldn't he? Like,
oh, yeah, they got Forest and Spurs next, didn't they?
So it could be going. Is it Spurs and what? So if they beat Forest, you know what I mean? Like,
and they got Spurs away. That's
could be the one that gives him his haircut, like, you know what I mean? So
can you believe that? I mean, I'll tell you what, if he had his haircut, he's got to go over skinhead, then he goes like, let's be real, he can't be doing that again.
And then if it doesn't happen, he's got the international break, so he's got another week with 10 days with guarantee. You know what I mean? Like, he ain't getting it till Christmas. You know what I mean? So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Like, but I do think Man United have beat Forest. I do think they'll beat Forest, and I do think that they've got a great chance against Tottenham. So Tottenham's next 2 games, Chelsea and Man United at home, big games for them as well. As we're talking about our games against Burnley and Sunderland, you know what I mean? Like, they'll be looking at them. If they can get 6 points, that pushes them into a real position of title challenges and Champions League. So this is, you know, so important that Arsenal win these next 2 games. Then so important.
No, it is. Big up to Brad in the chat. It says it's 3-point lane for a reason. We'll be all right. It's Chelsea fan. They always beat them there, don't they? They always do. They always do. So let's see what happens with that one, man. Let's quickly talk. They've got another super chat here from user. He says, when everyone's back, where do you guys play Eze? I think Gyökeres looked best with Eze on the left and Ødegaard in the 10. Eze scored that was a really good goal he scored for us at the weekend, by the way. A lot of people underestimate how hard that is to do. That was a very, very good strike. And I don't think he was amazing again, if I'm honest. I've not been wowed by Eze yet. I don't think he's come into the side and we were like, wow, he's undroppable, unplayable. He is versatile and he can play in a couple of positions, but I do prefer him in the centre. When everyone does come back into this side, Havertz, Ødegaard, Madueke, when everyone's back fit, and we've got a fully fit squad to pick from. Do you think Eze starts for us on the left in the middle? Do you think he starts with Ødegaard instead of Ødegaard? What are you saying, bro?
Great question. I believe at this moment in time, Eze would be a better option than Trossard in that role. Like, I thought Trossard done okay, but the way that he plays, I would push Eze out there, like, you know. But, you know, Martinelli has been very, very impressive. I know he's injured now, Martinelli, but I thought he was very, very impressive when he come on yesterday, like his pace and everything like that, like, you know. So I think eventually Eze will go out to the left and Ødegaard down the middle. I think that'll happen. I don't know why. I know I keep saying Hull. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why you keep saying Hull. I've just left it because I know what you mean. But you keep saying Hull. You mean Burnley.
I do mean that. I don't know why. Why have I keep saying that? I've got no rhyme or reason to say that. Like, but I've tried. I think I've gone to say Hull a couple of times and managed to come up with Burnley. I might have even said it, but like that is a weird one. That so. But listen, I lost my train of thought now. Like, you know what I mean? I think that Eze will probably end up there. Like, you know, I didn't think he was brilliant, but football at this level sometimes is about moments, Dan, and that was the moment, wasn't it? Like, you know, and
I'm glad he scored. Let me be real. I was really glad. Like, I personally could have couldn't have picked a better goal scorer, if I'm honest, against Palace. It's great. Not that I hate Palace, because I actually quite like Palace, but I thought that it's an interesting one for me. I think the left-hand side is still a player needed there. And I wonder if it will be, we go into the market, we go for Yildiz or we go for Semenyo or somebody on that left-hand side. I still think they wanted one of those in the summer, but it weren't weren't available for whatever reason. I don't like Eze on the left, though. I've got to be honest. I think he's all right over there. I think he can do a job. I think he can drift inside. But I don't think right now Martinelli is the best option on the left. He is. Like, Trossard was okay against Palace. I thought it was one of his better games. Thought he actually deserved to stay on when Saka come off. I wasn't shocked by that. Didn't think Saka was great, and I don't think he's 100% well. So I think it's good to give him a rest. I thought Trossard was all right. But Trossard gives me no excitement, Lee. Martinelli had a great game against Madrid. He was a handful. He's powerful. He's pacey. He can score. I think with Trossard, you get the ball, he tracks it back, and he tries to whip it in. There's no taking on your man with Trossard. He's just not got the legs anymore. So for me, I think that left-hand side is something we can definitely upgrade upon. And I think that you're right. When everybody's fit, I think Eze will probably play left and Ødegaard in the middle. But look, it's a really good sort of conundrum and a good sort of decision for Mikel Arteta, because when Havertz comes back, you and I both know he's probably going to start ahead of Gyökeres, or at least start in the 11 somehow. I don't know if he's going to play him behind Gyökeres, if he's going to play him alongside Gyökeres instead of Gyökeres, or maybe he does something on the wing madness. But I think he's going to look at Havertz getting into this side. I really do.
I do, and all that. You know what I mean? Now I've been looking. There's been like talk about Gyökeres because. He obviously played at Brighton, and I understand he played in the youth teams and the under 21s and whatever as wide left. So maybe like there's a position there for him, and Havertz going up top. Who knows? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm with you. I think Havertz will get in the team somewhere along the line. Listen, with Havertz for the first 3 or 4 games, it's not going to be that much of a worry because he'd be like, you know, on the bench for the first 2 or 3, and that's what you need. 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there of Kai Havertz. We need it. We need them back. We need those players back now, Dan, by the way. We need them because I think
I agree.
It's taking a little bit of a toll on us at the moment. You're playing Saka, if you believe that or not, that he was unwell. You know what I mean? Like once you say that you're fit enough to play, then you go and play. You know what I mean? Like, don't want to hear excuses. If I'll be really honest, was forced to play if we're going to go down that road. So we need Madueke back there as soon as possible to give break to Saka. I think that's important that he does get that break. I think that Havertz is needed in there, and I think that we need Ødegaard back as well, because I think that, you know, like Declan Rice, I don't know if you noticed, he took a kick in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game. I noticed that, and that was the problem for him. Like, so listen, that'd be sore for a few days, rest him for this week. But you know, you don't want to keep flogging these players down, like, you know what I mean? Like, I looked at Saka and I looked at Declan Rice. I think that they need a little bit of a breather. So like Wednesday's League Cup tie comes a good time for us to give them a little bit of a breather. You know that whatever happens, I know that England have qualified now, and you know that they've got a couple of games.
Saka and Rice will play every minute again.
They're still going to play again. Yeah, exactly that. Like, you know, you'd like to think that the manager will rotate in both games there, but you know the chances are that he's not. So we've got to rest, you know, these players at times. I don't think we can afford to rest a Rice and a Saka against Burnley or against Sunderland. I don't think we can do that in the next couple of games. I think we've got to go full strength if we can. So tomorrow is a game where we can rest a few players.
Well, let's talk about that then, because I think we do go with wholesale changes. I think you're right, Gabriel, Rice, Saka. I don't want to see those names personally. I don't mind seeing them on a bench, and if they have to come on, they have to come on. But personally, for me, I do want to see wholesale changes. I'll go through quickly what I think we'll go with, or what I probably would go with myself. I think Kepa is going to play. I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, he's going to play in the Carabao Cup games, I think. At right back, I think he will go with Ben White. And at left back, I think he'll go with Lewis-Skelly. And then I think at centre-half, I think he'll play both Mosquera and Nkapie and give Saliba and Gabriel a proper rest here because they need a rest, mate. Neither of them have played. Saliba come off with a knock. Gabriel, ain't been 100%. So I personally would go with those two. In midfield, I think he'll go with Norgard, Marino and Ethan Nwaneri. That's what I think he will go with and should go with because I think all three of them need game times and minutes. And then I don't know what he's going to do here in the front three, but I think what I'd probably do is I would play Trossard on the left, Martinelli through the middle, and then on the right, I'd go with Max Dowman. What he could do, though, is start Gyökeres in this game to try and give him a goal and confidence, and then have Martinelli and Trossard either side. So I don't know what you're thinking, Lee, about this game.
It depends on the fitness of Martinelli, doesn't it? Like, you know what I mean? He come off with a groin injury, so that would be a problem. I feel that he's going to have to play Gyökeres. I don't think there's a choice. There's one choice that he could do, and I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know who to fit into midfield because this is where the problem for me is because you've got Miles Lewis-Skelly. Calafiori took a knock as well, so I'm pretty sure Calafiori would be left out as well. But I think Marino will probably go up top. This is where I go on about. This is where the problem now lies without Madueke and without Havertz, because there's no problem now. You just go, Madueke comes in on the right. Downman can play, or as well if he wants to play at the right, and Madueke on the left. And then you can play Havertz down the middle. We haven't got that option at this moment, and it's a worry.
Well, if he plays Marino, he'll have to play Lewis-Skelly in the midfield and have Calafiori at left back. But I don't know if he's fit enough.
He can do that, or you go like what I would do on this for this game. I would play the same back four that you said. I would bring in Norgard as the holding midfield player, and I would play Eze and Nwaneri as my midfield two. And then I would play Marino up top. Wide right, I'll play Downman. Wide left, I'll play Trossard.
Trossard or Martinelli. Yeah. I mean, look, if Martinelli's fit, I think he will play and should play. If he's not, then obviously it has to be Trossard who starts again. But either way, what we've just had in that conversation in the last few minutes is something we've never been able to have. Because normally it's like, which of these? We can't play Vieira. He's no good. We've got to play Eddie. Reece Nelson. Are they going to be good enough? Now it's like straight away we've got a side that we believe hasn't really got any weaknesses in it, Lee. Let's be real. I mean, even with that second team, I'm not looking going, he's crap. He's rubbish. He's no good. I can't see him. He's not got a future of Arsenal. Just playing to give him some minutes. We're actually talking about some exciting players there. You've just mentioned Eze. You mentioned Dowman. You mentioned Lewis-Skelly. You've got Ethan Nwaneri. One of Trossard or Martinelli up top. It might be Marino, but he actually did quite well off the back end of last year. Nkapie looks like an absolute beast. Mosquera looks very comfortable. Ben White's still a good player. You know what I'm saying? This is a good squad now, bruv.
Yeah, it is a good squad, and I think that's a good shout that you said there. With Gyökeres going up top and giving him another game, like, you know what I mean? I think it could be the case of doing that. Instead of Marino going into midfield. Listen, you've got Marino, Norgard and Nwaneri as a midfield, say, if you want to go with that, right? They're all internationals, bar Nwaneri, who's an under-21 international, like, you know what I mean? So that's all quality. Still up front, you've got, like, a little bit of quality. You've still got, like, Gyökeres, Trossard and Dowman. Well, that's unbelievable, really, you know what I mean? So I think that maybe because of that it may be forced to go there, or he goes with the two tens and plays that way, like, you know what I mean. So whatever way it'd be a positive side. And listen, Brighton, people are saying to me, Brighton to go strong in this game and all that. Brighton, this moment in time, are not, I would say, in danger of being relegated, because I don't think that they are, but they're down the bottom half of the table, and they could. If they were to lose at the weekend or something, I'm not saying they're going to be dragged, but you know what I mean, Dan? They could be dropping down into that area. So you want to rest a few players and get a few players back and all that. Like, so this would be an interesting selection from them as well. So listen, I think this is like you do the starting 11s and all that. This is the most interesting one because you don't know what Arsenal are going to do. So it'd be interesting to know what his faults are and how he's going to go about it. Because don't forget, next week we've got Burnley, then we've got Champions League, and then we've got Sunderland to finish off. So it's another busy week next week as well.
Yeah, it is. A lot of travelling. A lot of travelling.
A lot of travelling next week, and 3 games in a week again. So listen, he's going to need Nketiah. He's going to need Ben White getting minutes, because I think that if they're playing this one, they're probably playing next week as well in that midweek game in Prague. I do think there'll be quite a few changes in that one as well. So these players have got to be up and ready. So I don't know when Madueke's coming back. I don't know when Havertz is coming back, but we need them back ASAP, Dan. And that's all I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? It's all right saying, well, yeah, our squad can cope and all that, but it's starting to the workload's getting a little bit too much for certain players. I.e. Gyökeres is continuing to have to play at the moment, may have to play again Saturday, may have to again play Tuesday, may have to again play Saturday. Then, you know, he's going to play both games for Sweden, like, you know what I mean? So this is going to start being a little bit of a worry for me. These guys need to be back and fit, you know what I mean? And we need we need our injured players back, and this is where we need them back now.
I agree, mate. Last question before we come to a close. Can Arsenal win this Carabao Cup? I think we can.
Yeah.
I think we should be as well, by the way. I think we should.
But we need a good draw in the next round as well. We need a home draw against whoever. We don't want to be going away at Liverpool, going away at Man City. Don't want to be going away. I think it's in December, is it? The next round, I think. Like,
oh, is it? Yeah, it probably is, actually, yeah. Yeah, because it'll be the quarterfinal, won't it, the next round?
Yeah.
So that'll be December, then the semis will be in January, and then the final will be the end of March, isn't it? So, yeah, it will be. Look, I think we can win it. I think we should win it. Right now, I think we're the best team in the competition. I don't think you can say that about the Champions League, but right now, we are the best at the moment in the Premier League, but a lot can change. Right now, I think we're the best team in the competition of the FA Cup before it starts and the Carabao Cup, which means we've got to be taking home one of those this year at least, because for me, when you're the favourites in all 4, yeah, well, definitely for 3 anyway, I think the Champions League, we're up there. You've got to go and do it, Lee. You've got to go and deliver. And, you know, I'll take this last super chat before we end, which is from JB, who says, is the quadruple on? Especially if we strengthen Semenyo with a loan option to buy like Raya. Let's just see if we can win one. And when I say one, let's see if we can win the Carabao Cup whilst being consistent in the league and the other trophies first, right? Because people laugh, but the FA Cup would have only just started by the time that finishes. Yeah, I think we would have played 2 games, maybe 1 or 2 games in it. So that there's only really that competition to worry about alongside Europe and the league. Let's see where we are in the Champions League. Hopefully we'll be through the group stage by then. Hopefully when we get to a Carabao Cup final in March, let's hope we're doing it, we can go thinking, well, we're top of the league. We're in the next stage of the Champions League when that starts. And the FA Cup's just started and we've just beaten, let's say, Chesterfield or wherever it is. Hopefully we get a nice draw like that. We can be in a really good position. Because the last few years, we've had bloody Liverpool, City and Man United in the first round of the FA Cup. We can't get Tottenham or Chelsea next, can we? Surely in the FA Cup. Surely we've got to get a nice sort of Rotherham at home or something like that. Do you know what I mean? That's what we need in the FA Cup. So we've got Port Vale in the League Cup. Let's hope we go and get a bloody nice one in the FA Cup as well. So look, I'm not saying we can do the quadruple. I actually thought Liverpool could have. Like, real talk, when there's summer, I thought, Jesus Christ, they're going to win everything. I did a video on it. So they're going to go and win everything, Liverpool. But that ain't works out for them because they bought in players and it ain't look settled. So with us, we look settled. Best squad in the league. Do we have the manager to get us across the line? Well, that's my big question mark. Hopefully we do this year.
And that, I will say that, Dan, you know what I mean? The FA Cup draw is so important. Like, you know, we got Man United last season, like, and people go, why you got any up that? Because it meant that you couldn't rotate that. What you need in those first 2 rounds is home ties against lower opposition where you can rest your big boys. You know what I mean? So, and then you can go into it deep. You know what I mean? So, listen, the cup draw is a big thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's 64 teams that are drawn in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know what I mean? There's 19 Premier League sides. So, if you get a Premier League side, it's you're unlucky. And if you pick out one of the big top 6 or something, it's even harder. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we picked out 3 out of the last 4 years. We've picked out, as you say, Man City, Liverpool, and and Man United. I think we got Man City in the fourth round away from home, like, you know what I mean? I think we played Oxford, didn't we? And then we played Man City. So you need a little bit of luck in those early rounds, in those January rounds, because on top of that, Dan, you've got some very, very big games in and around that week. I think we got FA Cups. Imagine you got FA Cup and you're playing, I don't know, I don't mean to be this, I'm going to say them, Hull, right? I'm going to bring out Hull, right? You know what I mean? We get Hull in the first round at home, right? We then on the Wednesday have got Liverpool. What if Liverpool go away to Spurs or away to Man United in the FA Cup? You know what I mean? They can't rest a load of players. But if we got away to Tottenham in the first round of the third round of the FA Cup, and then we got Liverpool. So look, that draw is so important that we get a home draw against lower opposition. I can't emphasise.
Oh, you can't stress that enough. I agree with you. And let's win tomorrow first, as Ryan says. Big up to you, Ryan, in the chat. Hope you're well, mate. Let's win tomorrow first. What are you going for prediction-wise? Let me ask you that as we close.
2-0.
Okay, interesting. I think it's going to go to penalties.
Yeah, just a lot of people have said that. Kepa's good at penalties, isn't he?
Who?
Kepa's good at penalties, isn't he?
Yeah, apparently so. I think it's going to go. I think it's going to be tough. I think we'll make all these changes and we might find it hard to settle because they've never really played together. And I don't think it's going to be this massive, 2 or 3-0, 4-0. I just don't think it's going to be. Brighton are a very unpredictable side, by the way. And I don't know what sort of 11 they're going to put out. I'm going to go for 1-1 and I think we'll win it in penalties. That's what I'll go for. I don't think it's going to be as comfortable as some people are saying. I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. 2-0 will be lovely. Just get through the tie. But I think we might win on penalties, which is a mad thing to say. But I actually do think that could be the case. But we'll see. We'll see. You going, aren't you, Judge?
Yep. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
So looking forward to it. Like, yep.
I'll be there. So I look forward to that one. Right, people. I'm going to love you and leave you. Send you over to Troops. He's live with Said at the moment. So go show some love to Troops. And we will see you next time, Judges. I'll let you say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend, but we go again, don't we? Like, a cup game, different pressure. The last cup game we played was fantastic. Let's hope we go and enjoy this one there. Brighton, good side. We owe them one. Knocked us out the last time we in the Carabao Cup, the last time we met. A little bit of a bogey side for us. Weren't too happy what they done in the 2-2 draw with Declan. You remember that? Come on, you Gunners.